Now, I know a lot of you guys are prepping for the end user license agreement. I heard that joke has been dragged into the ground now, so I guess we'll just call her Eula. Okay, we're trying to dodge the ban wave. Okay, the inevitable ban wave that's going to end all of YouTube. So let's get into it right now for you guys. If you like this video, hit that like button, and let's get into some of the best characters that you can be able to utilize with her in certain situations. Now, first and foremost, Zhongli goes with everything, right? It does. He's just like that. He's just that song, man, that song in your soul. He goes with everything. So he's going to apply that Big Daddy shield. It's going to have 20% physical in element reduction. So she does do some cryo damage too. So this works super well. He also does have applications of petrification. And on top of that, he does do some nice big support damage on top of that. He also can be utilized in a lot of different ways. With Eula, you can run him in one of two ways. I would run him as a support character. If you're running him more support, there's two things, right? You can run him full Noblesse Oblige here. Now, this is going to give him 20% element damage for himself. And then when he uses his elemental burst, it's going to give everyone 20% attack for 12 seconds. And coincidentally enough, what a coinky dink, his elemental burst also has a 12-second cooldown. So as long as you have enough energy recharge, get some energy orbs and particles to be generated from the rest of your team and fill him back up. Every 12 seconds, you're swapping in, you refresh your shield, right? Because that's the cooldown on his whole E as well. And then you drop that elemental burst. Very good stuff there. I do think this is the way that I'm going to run him in this composition. Now, the other set that you guys can run with him in this composition is the Tenacity of the Milda set, which increases him, you know, in everything he wants to do by quite a heck a lot. So what this set does is it gives him 20% HP, so it's going to slightly increase his damage, but what it's also going to do is really raise his shield level up by a pretty reasonable amount. But the other thing here is the 4-piece. When an elemental skill hits an opponent, the attack of nearby party members, including yourself, is increased by 20%, and their shield strength is increased by 30% for 3 seconds. This effect is triggered once every 0.5 seconds, and this effect can be triggered by the character wearing this set even when they're not on the field. So you can have characters like Zhongli, Albedo, Fischl, you drop the Pillar, you drop the Albedo Flower, you drop the Oz, and every time their elemental skill hits, even when they're not active, it's going to proc this effect for your entire party. And shield strength is very good, especially with Zhongli. So if he's in your team, he might not need to be the one wearing this. We'll talk about that more in the future, especially when we come up with the full Eula guide video, or more at the end of this video as well. But his shield strength getting increased by 30% additional shield strength, very strong. It's going to make that shield last longer, and as that shield lasts longer, the less you need to refresh it, the more you can move it around. You have C2, it's going to be infinite at this point because of the shield strength. On top of that, you're giving Eula 20% attack. You got insanely high base attack, second highest in the game. I think it's second only to Zhao in the game as well, so very high base attack there. And on top of that, she gives herself defense percent with her Grimheart stack. So you have big base HP shield with Zhongli, and you have shield strength from this set somewhere in your party, and you have defense percent up from Grimheart stacks. You have a very, very tanky girl in the form of Eula. But say you don't have Zhongli, we spent too much time on Zhongli. Diona is another fantastic character for very similar reasons to Zhongli. Now, she doesn't bring with herself the 20% physical resist down and 20% crowd resist down. She does have very significantly high barriers. Just build her for all HP percent. Don't be getting in there crazy with that healing circlet. Nah, don't do anything like that. She also is very good at filling up different teammates' elemental bursts, especially if they're cryo characters, which Eula is as well. If you haven't checked out the Turbo Diona build, you can see just how fast she can fill up herself as well as other characters' elemental bursts. In Eula's elemental burst, it does have 20-second cooldown on it, but it is very expensive. It is 80 energy. So you do have 20 seconds to fill that 80 energy up. But having someone like this in your party, Diona, allows you to just have her spam it, right? You can do a Favonius Warbow crit rate build to just generate a bunch of particles, 6 energy right away. You can also go ahead and put in Sacrificial Bow, so you can reset that E cooldown, which generates cryo particles, which you can then E again. You'll E, swap into Eula, swap back into Diona, E again, swap back into Eula. A lot of swap in there, but it's a lot of things that you guys can do to just forcefully feed that LB, Element Burst. That's some Final Fantasy there. Elemental Burst, okay? Energy up there. Now, on top of that as well, if you're a sneaky guy and you do know how to do the Dragon Strike, Diona is also one of the only other characters that allows you to Dragon Strike. Now, why is that? So we have Icy Paws here, but what other things that Icy Paws does do on her Ascension? One, when you have Icy Paws, your movement speed is increased by 10%, which allows you to do the Dragon Strike. You need a 10% movement speed buff. If you don't know what Dragon Strike is, go ahead and look that up. And Eula's gonna be pretty good at Dragon Strike. You're gonna have a lot of physical down between this build and this team when you'll have them together correctly. And she's got a lot of physical damage up, which is going to affect everything about her Dragon Strike. So look forward to that as well. It's gonna be fun times. Dragon Strike Eula is gonna be good times there. And as far as I know, as far as this recording is concerned, I did it today when I recorded it, so no, it has not been nerfed yet. It's just really hard to do, or you've been hearing a lot of misinformation. I'll double check on that at the end of this recording, but I did do it earlier today when I was doing my daily, so keep that in mind there. But yes, a fantastic character. Another thing, you'll have access to the Shattering Ice. Now, Shattering Ice here, you're not going to have the frozen effect, but you will have the cryo effect. In between Diona and Eula, you have opponents cryoed a vast majority of the time, especially with Diona inside of her own field. It's not going to be 100% of the time because you are going to be running someone like, good old Fischl in your secondary, support slot, and that's going to do big old super conduct, which we love, but you're still going to have this 15% crit rate a fair amount of the time. It's not going to be 15%. It might average out to be like 5% between 60 seconds of gameplay, but it's still something to talk about because you're still going to have double ice characters for Shattering Ice there. Now, another character that we do need to talk about, obviously, is going to be Big Fischl. Now, Fischl, I think, is going to be one of the go-to characters for a Eula team unless she's already in someone else's team. Now, Turbo Fischl is dead. That did get patched out. No more overload Turbo Fischl filling up everyone's limit bursts right away. Not happening anymore. But she is going to be one of the easiest ways to continuously and consistently proc super conduct, especially if you're a lucky guy and you have C6 for Evernight Raven, because anytime the Eula hits something, it's going to get electrode. And then you have a 4-second E, which does AoE. You guessed it, cryo, which super conduct on a 4-second, basically on-demand cooldown. Very strong there. But on top of that, Oz, even if you're not C6, is going to be plucking people over and over and over, and you're going to be getting super conduct that way, because super conduct, when it procs, is AoE, so you don't have everyone electrode, you just need one person electrode. So she's going to be hands down going to be in like nearly every party for those two situations there. Now, another thing about her as well is if you want to run, possibly, right, you have Diona, and then you don't have someone to run that very nice Tenacity of the Millith set, this character is actually a pretty good candidate for Tenacity of the Millith. This is because, right, the traditional support damage, right, big damage Fischl, right, runs Thundering Fury, right, increases the Oz damage, increases her off-field damage, and then Gladiator's Finale 2-piece for the 18% attack here. So if you swap this up, though, you swap it all the way to the full Tenacity of the Millith set, what do you really lose here when all things are said and done? Assuming you have the same kind of well-rolled artifacts here, which you may or may not have, but you get the 20% HP. That is wasteful on this character, but you do get the 4-piece here, and she's going to have like 100% uptime on this 4-piece. So what you gain 2% attack. You go from 18% attack to 20% attack there. You do lose the 15% electro damage, so our electro damage would fall from where it is right now at 61%. That's going to go right down into, what is that, 46.6%. So you're going to lose a fair amount of damage there. It's not a 15% damage loss. It's more along the lines of like a 9, off the top of my head, like a 9, 8, 9, 10% damage loss there, which is, is a significant damage loss. But what you do gain there is you gain the big, huge shields from having the Tenacity of the Millith set 30% shield strength up 100% of the time, which would even make your Eula even more tanky. Just stand in front of everything, basically do a fake Geo impression that way there. Now, another electro character that you guys can run here, will take a little bit more work to do, is actually Lisa. Now, she does have some big benefits that your girl Fischl doesn't have here, and this is because Lisa can proc superconduct, and she can proc it relatively quickly, right? She has her E here, and it has a very low 1-second cooldown. So you go in there, you just E someone, you swap out, you're good to go there, get that superconduct leveled up there. Now, another thing that you can do here is she does have a constellation, her second one, Static Electricity Field. Now, when you hit someone with Lightning Rose, which is her elemental burst, they have 15% defense reduction for 10 seconds. This is pretty powerful. It's pretty good. Her elemental burst is also on a 20-second cooldown with an 80 energy cost, so it lines up exactly with Eula. So you can drop Eula's Limit burst right after you drop lightning rose. Here I said limit burst again, it's supposed to be elemental burst. You drop lightning rose, you swap into Eula, drop that stuff, everything's gonna superconduct. That big sword or comes down, obliterates your enemies. They got superconduct, 25% physical resist down from Eula, 15% defense down here from this. Yeah, you can kind of smell what's going on here in this kitchen, and we're cooking. What does the lightning plus ice make? Water? We make water running in there, right? Maybe you already have a Geo character. If you already have one of the Geo characters and you already have Zhongli from the big shields, what you could really look forward to is using another Geo character, because you'll get that Geo resonance. So if you have Tenacity of Millicet on somebody, Zhongli shield, it gives up to 25%. Shield strength, tenacity 30%. That's 55. Get double Geo resonance bonus. Now you're looking at 70% shield strength on a character that gets defense percent buffs. Yeah, that shield's lasting forever. But Albedo is going to help you off the field. Very similar to Fischl, right? Run Zhongli, Albedo, Fischl, and your girl Eula. You got Superconduct, you got Zhongli shield, you got the shield reduction to the physical and element resist down from his shield, Zhongli's, and then you'll have access to Eula's physical and cryo resist down, and then you have Oz doing damage, you'll have Albedo's E doing damage, a big 2 characters swapping for elemental burst, reapply your shield, get back in there, charge up your shield with Eula. It's going to be a good time. It's going to be fun as well, and a very solid team to play, because you can be extremely tanky, and you don't need a healer anymore because you can't take damage. It's ridiculous. Now, on top of that, if you don't have Albedo, you're looking for another second Geo character to go with Zhongli, though. This character right here, very underrated when it comes to boosting damage and just kind of being a little bit of a menace, right? So Constellations here on this character, very, very nice. Now she drops all these rocks. It's all cool. It's all fun, right? Getting energy back, yada, yada, yada. Starfall Sword doing stuff. But here's the one, Ascension 1, Constellation 1, both good. When you use this Elemental Burst, it kind of makes a ring. It makes an arena, which is a twofold thing for Eula, because Eula's Elemental Burst is fairly slow. You cast it, you have to wait 7 seconds for the sword to form, and after those 7 seconds, that's when the big damage happens. So you hit Elemental Burst right here with Traveler, creates that ring, makes it a little bit harder for things to get away from you, and then you get 10% crit rate and increased resistance to interruption, which you already have on Eula. So you're gonna be like, I don't even know if that stacks, but if it does, you're not getting interrupted at all. So you're gonna have big shield, create an arena, say, hey, come fight me, and you're gonna drop the Sword of Judgment on their faces and have good times there as well. So yeah, a lot of cool stuff that you can do with this character, as well as Eula in another Zhongli. Now, if you want to pair, right, you don't have Zhongli, maybe you run Diona, right? You run in Fischl, you run in Eula. Another weird character to look forward to if maybe you go with a nice Shin Yan here. Now, Shin Yan, especially got some constellation. She is on the banner as well. Remember that. Don't tell anyone I told you that. Talents here, right? Sweeping Fervor, another shield to supplement your shield and your shield strength sort of play going on here. But while you have this shield on, you do 15% more increased physical damage, which is going to be the vast majority of the damage that you have there. Another cool thing with this character, if you do get some constellations, C2, you can run her as a burst damage support. Just max attack percent on her, max crit damage on her. You don't even need crit chance because she's not your main carry. Eula is. She's there to, get in there, put the shield on, have it last a little bit longer so you have that physical damage up on top of everything else. And then this makes your Rift Revolution have 100% crit rate. And guess what? Just like Eula, the vast majority of the damage from Rift Revolution is physical damage. So you'll be able to get in there and do a big wombo combo with Eula and Shin Yan. Create the sword, pop your hold elemental skill, drop the sword, swap into Shin Yan after all that's done, and boom, hit him with the concert. That's gonna be a lot of damage. I think that might be too much damage. So whatever, if you're working on it, hey, that's another character you guys can think of there. Another character, if you are part of the Shield family, you haven't seen it up yet, another character that's very good for swapping in and out and doing damage and then going back away. If you've been working on your Noelle, could also be Noelle here as well, because Eula's has some nice consistent damage, but really when it comes out of her play cycle, you want to press E, get your 2 stacks of Grimheart. That takes 8 seconds, not very hard, right? And then you hold E, which consumes all your stacks, does damage, summons a mini version of your Elemental Burst. Then you drop your Elemental Burst, and when you activate your Elemental Burst, it resets your E and gives you a stack of Grimheart, and your Elemental Burst takes 7 seconds for the sword to form. So 4 seconds later, you're able to press your E again, and then hold it. Very strong. Much WoW, you drop another mini sword, and then you're done. That's your whole burst format, right? So you get both stacks of Grimheart, hold E, hit your elemental burst, reset your E, gives you a stack of Grimheart, instantly hit E again, and then 4 seconds later, hold your E again. And you're gonna get another mini sword, and then your big sword, and you're like, hey, look at all these elemental particles everywhere, and then you swap it into well, and you spin around, put your shield back up, heal everyone, have a good time. When her elemental burst wears off, guess what you do? You go right back into Eula, and you just ad nauseum repeat that forever. It's gonna be a lot of fun out there for a lot of players out there with Genshin. Now, speaking of crit rate though, that we talked about with the Traveler, we also have a Rosaria. So you can build Rosaria, right? You want extra crit rate in there. Another character who can apply cryo. You're gonna have 2 cryo characters. So you have the 15% against frozen targets because of the 2 cryo characters. And then you also are gonna have Rosaria's good old Shadow Samaritan that can give you up to 15% crit rate as well. So you can build like a high crit rate support Rosaria, decent amount of energy recharge, and she's gonna be cryoing everything. You'll be cryoing things. They'll get superconducted every once in a while, but then they'll get crowd right back. And you could give your Eula up to 30% crit rate, which is a lot. Every time you cast Rites of Termination, that's very strong, right? 10-second buff on a 15-second cooldown with an 8-second duration. And then if you got access to the constellation to make it a little bit longer, I think it's Land of Promise here, goes up to a 12-second duration. So definitely Rosaria support built for that high crit rate, so you can gift that crit rate to your teammates is something else you guys could think about there as well, right? So that's a lot of stuff for you guys to think about when it comes to Eula. Let me know who you think is the team that you're going to be working on there. Let me know if I mentioned someone that you really wanted that justification. Be like, yeah, I thought about it. Or let me know if I didn't touch your characters at all. You're going to run with Klee and Ningguang and Ganyu and Eula on the same team and just somehow make that work. Hey, you can make it work. But if you like this video, make sure you hit that subscribe button and hit that like button, because it is the best way to make your voice heard and my voice heard on this platform we call YouTube. Help